Okay, I'm responding to Thomas Bain's claim about modern technology has a negative effect on teenagers. And secondary claims are 1, TV, computers, and games make teenagers obese. 2, technology can affect teenagers' academics. And 3, technology can make teenagers become antisocial. In response to his first secondary claim, which he didn't really have any supported evidence to, he just said stuff and we had to take his word. But I actually have evidence, and it says that it's from an article called Obesity in Children and Teens by the American Academy of Child and Adolescent Psychiatry. And it says, obesity in childhood and adolescence can be related to poor eating habits, medications, stressful life events or changes, low self-esteem, depression, and the biggest one I think is a family history of obesity. And it also states if one parent is obese, there's a 50% chance that their child is going to be obese. And if both the parents are obese, it's an 80% chance. And none of that points to technology, that technology actually has an effect on obesity. His second point, saying technology can affect teenagers' academics. Well, this is true, it does affect their academics, but he tried to take a negative effect on it, saying that people that use technology a lot, they have lower grades in high school, and they can just look up answers online, and that doesn't benefit them. Well, actually, technology improves their mental capabilities. An article by Ray's Smart Kid, I guess the article name is also Ray's Smart Kid, it says, when your child plays video games, it gives his brain a real workout. In many video games, the skills required to win involve abstract and high-level thinking. These skills are not even taught in school. Some of the mental skills trained by video games include following instructions, problem solving and logic, hand-eye coordination, fine motor spatial skills. So these actually affect their brain, make them think outside the box in a way that improves their brain's mental capabilities. And about looking up answers, yeah, you can look up answers, but there's more websites on how to look up how to do the problem. Say it's a math problem, you could go and you could look it up online, you could learn. Say your teacher's not very good, you could go and find it online how to do these things. Technology helps them in these instances. On his third point, he says technology can make teenagers become antisocial. And he tries to bring up stuff like you can't do any face-to-face talking anymore. It tries to mellow that out. We got Skype and Boo-Boo. That completely blows that out of the water. You can talk to somebody in a different state in like 2 seconds. On the social aspect, I have an article on the Washington Post called Teens in Survey Paint Positive Picture of Social Media's Effect on Their Lives by Cecilia Kang. And it states that half of teens said that they think social networks have helped their friendships. Only 4% said the platforms have hurt their relationships. 3 out of 10 teens said social networks made them feel more outgoing, compared with 5% who said they felt more introverted. Still, half of all respondents said real-life communication is the most fun and fruitful for the relationship. But technology helps them communicate and have a social life. Even on Facebook, you're socializing, it's still socializing. So that completely blows him out of the water. He actually had no points on that either. He kind of just walked over and didn't really say anything. But on his outline, he also stated something about that it reduces family life, that they don't hang out as much. And that's also false. Like me personally, the only time I actually hang out with my family is when we go and sit down and watch TV for a few hours, watching The Walking Dead or House or something like that. So in total, his lack of evidence kind of put him down the water on his claim that modern technology has a negative effect on teenagers, and that is false.
All right, the structural stuff is all pretty good. On the first point, you've got a nice counterclaim. Look, I do think that you need to clarify. You have a tendency, and you do this on a couple of the points, to present the evidence first and then tell us what it means. What you want to do is make the claim first and then give us the evidence that backs up that claim so that we can see, as we're listening to the evidence, how you are reasoning and how this fits together. It sounds a little bit backwards, I know, but the idea here is that we have to be able to figure out what your inference is instead of making our own inferences based on the data. We want to know what it is, what the conclusion is that you're drawing. So it's a little bit backwards, but I thought that the evidence that you had on that first point was really effective. In contrasting it to the advocate's information, you basically say they didn't have any information, and I think that you need to be precise in that and say, well, they cited no study on this, they have no authority, their bibliography, for instance, had no reference to anything that dealt with the issue of obesity, and so it's just an assumption on their part, instead of saying, well, he didn't say jack about this, or whatever the equivalent term was that you used, something along those lines. The second point, I think you did have a counterclaim that was a little bit clearer, that, for instance, the technology forces us to think and learn differently, and I thought that was okay. The idea about looking up answers and learning how to do something, that's mostly asserted on your part, and I don't think it would be too hard to come up with a couple of real examples to show that. On the last point on social networking as an alternative here, and that's all technology-based. I think that it's very clear from the beginning that you're saying that this technology allows people to develop social relationships and that they still focusing on social relationships, and you've got good statistical information on that point. So you presented a very effective counterbalancing argument there. All right, thank you.